Here we go. Now this is either we'll decide later. You're either on the Patreon or this is free on YouTube.
Okay.
Whatever. We left off at LBJ.
So LBJ. First of all, there's an interesting tie-in. A person that ties together JFK, LBJ, and Nixon.
Is it my mother's cunt?
It's your mother's cunt.
Is it really?
No, it really wasn't.
Oh, God damn it.
No, there are some parts of history your mother's cunt did not figure into. There's only a few. But the person who sort of that combines these three figures in an interesting way is Jackie O. Because, first of all, obviously she's connected to JFK because he fucked her.
Yeah.
But there's this great, first of all, and I've been to like every presidential library, not every one. I've been to a lot. And Nixon's has this really weird artifact. They always have these artifacts, like the actual written. So there's these notes. It's a letter written by Jackie O to Nixon right after JFK was shot. Like it's one of the first things she did. And it's like on hotel stationery. And it's just in her hand, and it's many pieces, like little notepad pieces. She sat down and wrote a letter to Richard Nixon. Because the thing with all these families is they all hung out together. So even if they were political enemies, like if Kennedy and Nixon are debating, Pat Nixon and what's her name and Jackie hung out. They were all their families
Nixon's wife's
traveled
name was
together.
Pat.
What's that?
His wife's name was Pat.
Patricia Nixon. Yeah.
Was she cute?
I mean, I don't.
Would you fuck her?
You know, ladies back then. Ladies.
Yeah.
She was a lady. With the hair.
Yeah. It just sucks. He's the cool guy has.
Jackie. He was desperately in love with her.
He's got Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really loved her very much, Patricia. The story about her that I love is that Nixon, she was a librarian. There's a lot of stories about presidents that have this in their history. He went to the library and there was this beautiful Patricia, young librarian, and he would go in there and talk to her. Been looking for the, Boswell's history biography of
How to Live with a Huge Cock.
Yes. Yes, I just don't know how to do it. And one day he went in there and he said, I just came to tell you that someday I'm going to marry you.
Oh, man.
And Patricia said, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend. He goes, okay, who's this boyfriend? She goes, he lives in this town over, And he goes, how are you getting there? Are you going on a date? She goes, yeah, I have a date with him tonight. She goes, well, how are you getting there? She goes, I'm taking a bus. He goes, no, I'll drive. That's unsafe. So he would drive her to her dates.
Whoa.
And he would look after her. He's like, you're going to marry me someday. And so he just sort of was her friend and he looked after her and then he wore her down. Same thing with Truman and Bessie. Bessie, he wrote long letters to that we have now. And in one of the letters, he wrote and said, I want to marry you.
Yeah.
And she wrote back and said, geez, Harry, I'm just don't love you. I like you that way. And he wrote back and he said, I just want to thank you for not making fun of me when I asked you. So let's please remain friends. And they were friends for years.
And then he started killing it.
And she started looking at herself in the mirror and going, I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
And this dude might be something. So I don't know what went into it.
We were just looking at a guy. I was watching a thing on presidents before we left, and it is a theme where they try to get with a lady and they're like, no. And then they're like, I'm just going to be the fucking president.
I'm going to be the best guy ever.
Yeah. It's what happened when you saw the movie Vice? It's my favorite part of the movie with Cheney.
We'll get to them.
Getting
a
DUI,
his wife.
Getting a DUI and getting a fight.
He was a fuck up.
And then she's like, "You're a loser. I'm gonna leave you." And he's like, "I'll become the greatest man of all time."
Well, she made him that. Made him that. But I'll get to that because I met that lady. So
wait, what was the story of the letter Jackie sent?
So Jackie, when John was dead and she still got his blood on her pink dress. She wanted to take it off. It was a nice fucking dress. She's like, I'm not going to wear this for one fucking day. She kept it on. And the thing that she had his brains in her hand. And she walked up to somebody in the operating room and said, does anybody need this for anything?
It's like an IKEA.
She had the president's brain in her.
Yeah.
And she was like,
I found this screw on the ground.
Yeah.
We might have missed some.
And they're like, oh,
shit.
that isn't. She's like, is that important? They're like, yeah, it's pretty important.
That's his.
And they're like, she's like, you want to put it back in? They're like, no, you go ahead and eat it. And she ate his brain. It's true. It's true. You ever seen the autopsy photos? In the background, you can see her.
You can see Jackie stuffing one down.
Sweetmeats, or whatever you call it. So she wrote, it just reminds me, and this isn't presidential, but this is one of the funniest things that Nick DiPaolo ever said to me. I know I made fun of him in the last one, so I want to praise him. I love the guy. It's like my brother. We used to live together. And I was telling him about this thing that I had heard about. The thing about Nick DiPaolo is that you tell him about something and he finds the joke. So the thing I told him about was that there's somewhere in Asia, they love monkey brains. And the best way to enjoy monkey brains is when they're still alive. So there's these tables with little like skull-shaped holes in them.
Yeah.
And they put the monkey up there and they cut the top of it and you just cut it open and you eat it with a little stylish fork. And I said this to Nick, and he pretended to be one of those guys. He's like, I'm sending mine back. It's retarded. Like, that would make it taste bad. This one's retarded. I want my money back. Okay, so LBJ. So Jack's dead, and Jackie writes Nixon.
Yeah.
And she says, listen, I know that you're going to charge ahead and try to be president. Like, I'm thinking about you right now. With my husband dead, you're the first person I thought of. You and Pat and your family. And I think about what we've all sacrificed of ourselves in order to achieve these great historical moments and in order to be president. And I lost my husband to this. This killed him. And I don't want this to happen to you. You're a good man. You've got a good family. And I'm just saying, this is me saying now, cool it and take what you've got and retire and be a family man, because it's going to kill you too.
Yeah.
She wrote this to him.
Wow.
Great moment.
Wow.
Now, there's another thing. When LBJ was president, he was very much in love with Jackie. Everyone loved Jackie.
Yeah.
So LBJ loved Jackie, and there's a tape you can hear of him calling Jackie from the White House, drunk. In the middle of the night, you hear her like, hello? And he's like, Jackie, Jackie, God damn it, I love you, Jackie. And you hear her go, Mr. President?
Oh, what a betrayal, dude.
It's just beautiful.
What the
It's
fuck?
just beautiful. Jackie, I don't know what to do anymore. He was a farm guy. He was a real fucking country guy. And he did stuff like he had these dogs, and he would lift his dogs by the ears and show the press, look at my dogs. And everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Don't do that.
I guess that's my dog.
Dude, is there anything more unsettling when someone grips their dog up like that?
Yeah,
like
I've never even heard of that.
Well, just even grabbing him by the back of the neck.
But by the ear, he was like a hound, and he held him by the ear. Look at my dog.
Dude, when it's not a puppy and someone grabs it by the back of the neck, it's like, dude, stop.
And also, he used to make a lot of his phone calls on the toilet. And he would have meetings on the toilet. He made a lot of big decisions sitting on the toilet. And they'd talk to him, Mr. President, what do you want to do about Korea? And he's like, I don't give a goddamn or whatever, and so Vietnam and all that stuff. And the thing about LBJ that to me is like an important thing is that he was an empathetic president. In other words, he felt when other people felt. Okay, this is my problem with some other presidents. Is that they don't have that. They don't actually. There's a famous photograph you can find of him where one of his, I think it was his son-in-law, I think it was Chuck Todd, was who ended up being a senator from Virginia. Turned into a real douche later, but he sent a tape of, he was a lieutenant in the army in Vietnam, and lieutenants were just like having to take platoons out and just get them all massacred. Yeah. So he just sent a reel-to-reel tape to his father-in-law, the president, describing a bloody day in Vietnam and how many guys he lost and how bad it was. And there's a photograph of LBJ listening to this tape, and he's just got his glasses off and he's just sobbing because he knows that he's in charge of this. Yes.
To some
kept
extent.
It going. He still thought it was right, or he couldn't undo it. I don't know.
I think,
but it made him feel
that's the
a lot.
Conspiracies, though.
Well, I have my uncle, and Nixon ran against McGovern.
How close to the election did Bobby get shot?
It's a good question. It was California primary. He was there for he'd been winning everything.
Yeah. Oh, so it was in the primaries.
It was in the primaries.
Yeah.
And
what was the name of the guy who shot him? It was like something
Sirhan. Yes, and there's a picture, a famous picture of him laying there, and there was so if you look at the picture, there's a guy holding him. You see that guy holding his head?
Yeah.
He's a busboy. A just Mexican busboy working in a hotel. And it was in the kitchen. Like he had just made a speech. And he was coming through. Just to back up for a second with Bobby, because Bobby was an incredible guy. Bobby had a fluid mind of a crackling brain. Like he was like, John was, moved slow and made careful moves. And Bobby was passionate, When my mother, when I first got an iPhone, first time I'd ever held that thing, I took it to my mother's house, and my mother was a computer programmer, but this item was like, she's like, it's a phone. And I go, name any image or moment, recorded moment. That's what
she went with?
What's that?
And that's the one she went with?
Just no, let me finish. I said, name any recorded moment in history.
Yeah.
And she said, when Martin Luther King was killed, Bobby Kennedy was about to have a rally, give a speech at a rally of all black people. It was a black audience, like in some city. And he got the news. And he had to tell the audience that MLK had been assassinated. And he, off the cuff, said some things about it and gave a speech, which was very moving. And I just went, fucking RFK, MLK.
Yeah.
And played it for her. And she was like, wow. What is happening? Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I thought, I was close with my guess. I thought your mom was going to be like, if I could see anything in the world right now,
it would be him getting
show me him dead on the ground.
He's show me that motherfucker
I'd like to see it.
With blood on his face. So he was shot coming out of they were taking him through the kitchen. Sirhan shoots him. And this busboy is the one who catches him. It just was in a melee of people. So a guy who had nothing to do with anything, senor. So he's got Kennedy's head in his lap, and he looks down at him. And he never spoke about it. Like he wouldn't. Press used to ask him. He just refused to talk about it because he felt the moment was very personal. But he finally, I think guy might be dead. But I saw an interview with him where he said what happened. Which is that Bobby said, he just asked him, do you have a rosary? He knew he would because he's fucking Mexican. He said, do you have a rosary? And he did. And they gave him a rosary, and he basically took his last rites.
Holy shit.
He gave Bobby a shot at a Catholic little death.
Oh, he's got a couple years, dude.
Yeah.
He's the best is the guy who shot. Oh, well, I guess we'll get to him.
Well, Mike Sweeney, comedian, did the best joke ever. He wrote for Conan for years, but he was a great stand-up. And I'm saying his name, so I think I can steal his joke. Mike Sweeney. He used to do a joke about Sirhan at his first parole hearing. He said, I think if Robert Kennedy was alive today, he would say that I should be let go. And he goes, boy, just of all the bad luck. It's the one guy who would have stuck up for him. Turns out it's the guy he shot. Anyway, Sirhan kills Robert Kennedy, and Democrats go to the fucking convention in Chicago. Richard Daley and the fucking yippies show. And then we had another time like this. Far way out left yippies making a noise and wanting it to be a riot at the Democratic National Convention, not the Republican. They were like Nixon. There's another time like that it was like, yeah, we all know Nixon's a dick, but let's fuck with the Democrats. Let's go after the liberal side of things. And there was gas,
there's horses running over people.
Insane. So it was like the Democrats came across as this fucking chaotic bunch.
Yep.
They end up with McGovern and nobody gives a fuck. It's just this bad sort of like fucking the Democrats represent chaos and drugs and all this stuff. And there wasn't a thing of like, let's get together behind McGovern to beat Nixon. That just was not going to happen. So Nixon fucking finally, after all those years of his long life in politics, having been vice president for fucking Eisenhower, having been a senator and during the McCarthy hearings, all this stuff. He ends up being president of the United States in 1960, and he gets the people. He does the moral majority. You know, the people that, or what do you call them? The silent majority. The silent majority. And all the guys in hard hats who hated hippies. And he counted on that. And it won. And he won.
Yeah, it's coming again. We're doing the same thing.
Same thing.
Exact same thing.
Same thing. So then you get to Nixon through 4 years, and he gets to 72. Now
I have a question. Was the press gay back then like they are now? Were they like totally like?
Well, it was a different bunch of guys, like Dan Rather and fucking, I mean, I'm forgetting all these guys' names.
It was never this partisan, though, right?
No, because there was the CBS News, which was Walter Cronkite, and there was NBC and ABC. That was the news. Was you chose between three dudes. And there was David Brinkley, and they had Meet the Press. They had some stuff they even still have now.
Yeah.
But it was the press was centralized. There wasn't this sort of like, the written press was pretty out there. But the TV news was what everybody was really following. And so everyone watched the same news, and then we argued. So it was different. And you never had a sense that the press, to answer your question, no, they really weren't gay. Shane, I don't agree with using gay that way. He's even making me sound gay because I'm so upset with him. My God. So, well, like Cronkite. Cronkite was a picture.
It's funny to actually be gay when you're being gay.
It's the best.
Like to be mad about something. Get a coaster for that.
Stop it. Stop it. Especially this angry gay. Stop it. Shane.
What's more terrifying?
No, that would be if you had two gay dads. There would have been one who's like, Shane, just don't make him mad. Shane, what the fuck are you saying to him? Shane.
It could be the most terrible. That's the most scary, getting yelled at.
By your gay dad. I knew a gay. I knew a number of gay dads and two moms when I was raising my kids. A lot of their friends had gay dads, and I saw it's the same as any other stereotype. There are many kinds of heterosexual parents. There are soft-hearted, useless heterosexual parents. There are distracted, narcissistic, I think I can change my kid's life parents that are heterosexuals. And there's just fucking like, got it, gets it, doing the tough work heterosexual parents. And it's the same in my experience with gay moms and gay dads. I've known gay dads who are just like hard tack fucking, I'm not fucking this up.
Yeah.
But also I know it's his life. That like I've known so many kinds, but they all sound like this. But anyway, not really.
Kick the ball.
Not
Kick
really,
it, Tyler. Go.
It's more fun.
The fucking T-ball.
Well, that's
game.
what a straight dad sound like.
Yeah.
But so
gay dads are great.
Gay dads are great. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite has two great moments that show you what the press was back then. There's the moon landing, and there's Kennedy getting killed. He's in, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see both of these. So the moon landing is just they show the fucking footage of Neil touching down, which didn't happen. They didn't never land on the moon. And then they cut to Cronkite.
What's his name? It was your boy. That was Kubrick, dude. He did the moon landing.
Kubrick did the moon landing. That's why they gave him all the lenses. Yeah, he used the lenses for Barry Lyndon. It's true. Barry Lyndon is a great movie by Stanley Kubrick, and it takes place in like the 1600s, and he wanted it to look like that, so he used no electric lights, but he needed lenses that drink a huge amount of light, and he got NASA to give him moon lenses.
So he did do the moon landing.
Yes, nobody's ever been on the moon. Nobody's ever been on the moon. 100%.
You see there's some clues in The Shining.
Huh?
There's clues that
about
he
the
did
moon.
It. Yeah,
I don't believe this. I think they went to the moon.
But we'll see.
But
no, I think somebody was trying to argue that in like some Chinese astronomy, they found they satellite images of where people landed.
Yes,
and they're like, why would we help cover this?
By the way, they went up like 20 times. It's not even that big a deal. But so Cronkite, when they landed on the moon, you just cut to him and he's got this big childish grin on his face. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say, this is a marvelous moment. He just reports, and Neil has landed a man has landed on the moon. He says the facts, but he's got a bit. You can see the feeling, but he doesn't say it. And then the other moment that is just devastating is when Kennedy dies. He says he gets the report, he gets it in his hand, and he says President Kennedy has died. He died at 12 o'clock, and he takes off his glasses to look at the clock above him because he's reading. To look at the clock above him and says, and that's 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. He just reports that Kennedy has died and reports the time, and he looks at his local clock, and then he puts his glasses back on, and he goes,
sports.
And he just swallows. Vice President Lyndon Johnson is to be sworn into. And there's this moment between where he's taking in that the president of the United States is dead, which without even thinking about who it was just horrible. Yeah. And then that he probably knew him, you know? So, but that was he didn't grandstand, you know, you watch the news now and they're just like, you know, and they're just feeling shit. Yeah. And it's horrible. They are not supposed to, you know, like when I worked for Letterman, the Yankees were in the World Series. And I got caught up in it, and because I'm a New Yorker, I'm a Boston guy, but I just got caught up in it. It was fun. So we took Larry Bud Melman, this character that Letterman had, to the game and interviewed the players. And then I got to be in the press box during the game. And me and a friend of mine who was a writer were sitting there watching the game, and we're cheering when the Yankees hit. And then we look, and everyone's staring at us like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't cheer in the press box. Like, it was like, we're all fans of something, but shut the fuck up. I think that shit's gone. I think that's all really
certainly
gone. But anyway, so Nixon serves.
Also, one more thing about Kennedy, dude. Why go to the moon? It's probably my favorite speech.
So, and then Nixon's president when they land on the moon. And there's in his library in Yorba Linda, California, where he was born and raised, and the little house that he was born in is there at the library. There's a phone, which is the phone that he talked to the moon on. It's the White House. They took the White House phone that he made. It's just a fucking beige phone with a big white button and a big red hold button. I don't know if he put them on hold, but he, talked to, well, it's just wonderful that you're up there.
You're up on the moon.
You're up there, and Jack is dead. Fuck him. And
nothing could stop me now.
Yeah, no. So he was president when that happened, and so 68 turns into the 72, and now the country's really fucking changing. Everything's in color now. The TV's in color. Everything's, hippies are starting to get old.
Yeah, they're starting to wash out a little.
Yes.
What's sadder than that?
Two things happened to the hippies. First of all, they killed a bunch of them. They killed a bunch of their leaders. But they also got the drugs started to take a bad effect. They went from mind liberating pot to fucking heroin and cocaine, which are dark drugs. They became dark
evil
high.
Hippies.
Yes, and then some of them grew up and had families and wanted to be rich. So, and there's another thing you can find on YouTube that's great are the debates between Abby Hoffman and Rubin. He was Jane Fonda's husband, and he was a congressman eventually. But he was one of the Jerry Rubin, I think his name is. He was one of the yippies. He's one of the. He was a wicked radical, and he used to be one of those guys. We're not taking his shit anymore, and the president come here and kiss my fucking ass. Yeah. And Abby Hoffman had the best.
Became a congressman.
Yes, Abby Hoffman was Abby Hoffman said the N-word constantly during speeches because he would just be with a bullhorn and talking about "fuck you," and he was like really inappropriate, and he was really a lit up nut. Abby Hoffman. Him and Jerry Rubin were like the East Coast, West Coast hippies. Later, Jerry Rubin became a huge capitalist. He became a yuppie. That's where the term yuppie came from. And the two of them debated. They traveled together to different universities, and they would debate their generation's new predicaments of do we keep the fight going of trying to get out of wars and trying to be Democrats and trying to liberate this country. And the other ones were like, we got to grow up and we got to, and what Rubin was saying was we need a candidate. We need to win an election. So we need to go to the center and we need to talk to big business and small business. And we need to talk about being a practical, because that's the liberal dream. And this became Clinton. This is where Clinton came from from the hippies saying,
Nixon, I don't know shit about Ford or Carter.
okay, so Nixon resigns. I will resign the presidency.
So wait, I don't even understand Watergate.
So Watergate was, it started as a very simple thing, which was there's some guys Nixon had a committee, the committee to reelect the president, which is CREEP. CREEP was literally their acronym. So CREEP sent some burglars to the Democratic National Committee's office, which was in Watergate Hotel. Watergate Hotel is in like a complex of office buildings. And they stole some papers from there. And this kind of shit was happening a lot. But Nixon was on drugs, paranoid, had a list of enemies. He just went. His thing came apart. Is really what happened.
Yeah.
These guys took some papers. It wasn't a big deal, but he immediately tried to control it because he was like, we're quashing this, we're killing this, right?
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, we got this guy. If he talks, we're all fucked. And Nixon says, what does he want? And they have them on tape. Somebody says he'll do it for $1 million, and he says, can we get the $1 million? And it's Nixon saying that was like the smoking gun. Was like, we'll give him the $1 million if he wants it.
Like, well, give him $1 million. What are you talking about?
If you're president, you can't say that out loud. It's crazy. But he had too much. He wasn't delegating enough, and so one by one, the investigative reporters at the time were really diligent, and they turned against a lot of pressure. They turned guy after guy after guy down until finally they got the guys close to him, and he didn't have. He knew
is the guy they were going to pay is that Deep Throat?
Yes,
that's the.
Well, no. Is
that just
Deep Throat is a guy who was in the system who just who saw everything that was going on, and was leaking it. It's just one of the dumb burglars, one of the guys, and there was this guy G. Gordon Liddy involved, who was a weird CIA guy who used to put his finger over a candle and burn it, and fucking
like,
psycho.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
like
Liddy is a great guy to look up. G. Gordon Liddy. So Nixon knew that if they impeached him, they had the votes. That's another time where things were. I want to go back because there's a guy I remember now, which is one of my not countrymen, but citymen from Boston is Tip O'Neill. Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House for many, many years. And he was Speaker, I think, during Nixon, but he was during Kennedy. So he was a Boston politician, and so was Kennedy. And there's just going to tell you this one story about Tip O'Neill. And then we moved to America, and coming to America, which was like this shiny country full of cheerful people where all the floors are straight, like it's right angles, air conditioning, and just a cleanness and an honesty. And the idea that when they told me about like the president, like that it's a democracy. Mexico was a democracy, but everybody knew it was corrupt. And I got obsessed with the idea of the president of the United States. That's where it became a thing to me. And the president at the time was Nixon. And I cut a picture out of him out of the paper, and I taped it up next to
Nixon?
my bed. Yes, I loved Richard Nixon. When I was a little kid, I was so about Richard Nixon. And I wrote a letter to my abuelita, my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I sent her a picture of Nixon and said, this is the president of the United States. He's the greatest greatest man in the country.
He's so cool.
He's the best man. I didn't know a single thing about him. And he had this serious face. And I had a dream. It's the first dream I remember. I don't know if you remember dreams from when you were a kid at all. You ever had a dream that you still remember?
I'm not sure that I do.
So I remember one dream. I was in my bedroom was in the front of our house. So you looked out at the front of our house, and I was asleep, and it was like a Sunday morning. and I heard a band, like a marching band. And I looked outside, and it was Nixon, like walking up my street. Just no spectators.
Yeah.
Just him walking up, followed by a marching band. Boom, 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 boom. And I came out on the front yard. We had this walkway, and he got down on one knee, and he said, "Louis." And I ran into his arms.
What the fuck? Damn, you love Nixon.
I loved him so much.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy? I've never told anybody that. Do you
How
know that?
heartbroken were
I've
you?
never told anybody that in my life. And so,
Louis.
Steve Martin, who was the comedian then, he was my first favorite comedian. And Cosby really was. Cosby was first. As a kid, I listened to Cosby records constantly. But Steve Martin was the first person that made me think I could be a comedian because he was so weird. But he did a bit where during that time, because they showed these footage of Nixon on the beach in California after he went home. And Steve Martin says, I feel bad for Nixon. He goes, I know you're not supposed to because he did wrong. But every time I see him on the beach with his big old shorts on and his metal detector, and he just drew a picture of Nixon just alone on the beach. And, Nixon stayed he did these interviews with David Frost, the Frost-Nixon interviews, and he opened up about himself a lot. And he stayed available to every president after him, would call on him. He was a great resource. Fascinating guy. And when Patricia died, you saw him at her funeral just crying his eyes out. Very human guy, Nixon. Very human. Showed his feelings. And he wasn't cool, and he wasn't hip, and he wasn't like, I feel your pain, Clinton. He just was an open sore. And I think he gave that. And I said that in the last time.
Yeah.
But so... yeah, Ford pardoned him, and then Squeaky Fromm tried to kill him. She shot at him. Did you know that a woman named Squeaky Fromm?
That's the first time I'm hearing this.
Squeaky Fromm was in the Manson family. Squeaky Fromm, the Manson family, you know who that is, right?
Yes.
Charles Manson, she was one of his Manson,
she was one of the ladies.
The women who killed and men who killed, Roman Polanski's wife and unborn child. Squeaky Fromm found a way to get to him, and she took a shot at him with a rifle. And there was one guy, some cop, who hit the rifle away, saved his life, and that guy was gay. Just a piece of news.
Nice.
And I always combine that guy in my head to the guy on the plane, Flight 93. It was a gay rugby player. It was one of the guys who said,
"Let's roll, guys."
Let's roll. Yeah. Okay. So gay people are all heroes. Gay dads are the best.
Flight 93 got shot down.
What's that?
Flight 93 got blown up with a missile.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It was the missile that it went on after, and it hit the moon. It kept going through it. It hit the plane. So
Carter.
So Ford runs with Bob Dole as the vice president.
I only know Bob Dole, just Norm Macdonald. That's it.
Bob Dole.
That's it.
There's a great documentary about presidential debates. It's one of the best documentaries. It's like a PBS documentary about presidential debates. And they talked to a lot of the guys, the real guys. It's like PBS or something. Bob Dole debated Walter Mondale, who was Jimmy Carter's guy, his vice president. And they asked Mondale about this moment. They're talking about war and military, and Bob Dole said, "Well, the Democrats they love war. It was World War II. That was a Democrat war." And he said that, and then they cut to Mondale going like this, and he said,
awesome.
Then they cut to Mondale in the documentary. 6 o'clock.
Is that real?
Country, yeah. You got to know it's 6 o'clock.
Is it The Purge? What is this? They blare this at... I was like, this is terrifying. We're not coming back to the woods.
I I drank too much coffee.
So Walter Mondale and Norm Macdonald are having the debate.
So he's debating Norm Macdonald, and Dole says this is World War II. That was a Democrat war, and Mondale says in the documentary, "I knew we were going to win that was it. That was the moment that won the election." So that's apparently
it used to be like that. It used to be one gaffe.
Yes.
That was it. Like
right.
fucking, wasn't it Quayle couldn't spell something?
Yes, but Dean, what's his name?
Yeah.
Dean. Bye.
Meanwhile,
Hart with a woman on his knee,
no,
on a yacht.
What was that?
Gary Hart was supposed to be the president of the United States.
Yeah.
He was a Kennedy-like, beautiful-looking guy. He was a Democrat from, I don't remember what state Gary Hart was from, but he was beloved. And then they found a picture of him on a yacht in Bimini with a girl on his knee that wasn't his wife. See ya. That was the end of him. But so, and Bob Dole, by the way, was a war hero.
Yeah.
He was in some horrible hill in Europe. And he was one of those guys where when a medic found him, he just took some of his blood and put an M on his forehead, which means morphine. And all that is to tell anybody coming by,
drug him, he's dead.
Just give him more morphine. He's not going to make it. I don't have any on me. So, and then they sent Bob Dole home to Kansas. And his father, get up, Rosie, get up there. His father owned a drugstore. And they would just take him to the drugstore, and he was just like this, and they'd just lean him against just let him sit in the corner. And nobody thought he could hear because he looked so fucked up. And some neighbor pointed right at him. Some neighbor sitting at the ice cream counter, the drugstore, pointed at Dole and said to his friend, I would kill myself if that was me.
Oh, no.
And Dole heard this, and it was the most pitiful moment in his life. And it was the moment that turned him around because he realized I gotta start working out. I can't. Yeah. I'm so close. Somebody just said that if they were me, they would kill themselves.
Yeah.
And he felt so sorry for himself. But the next thought was, it's time for me to start. And he became almost twice became president. I met Dole. I've met some weird people. I met him. I was a writer at Conan, and Dole was a guest. And I remember thinking at the time, fuck Bob Dole. He's the one guy I would be rude to him. You know, like you fantasize. Yeah. I wouldn't even be nice to that guy. I would be rude to that guy if I met him. And I was standing outside the studio, and the elevator's open, and out comes Bob Dole with no entourage. Like you picture, he was at the time, he was like the fucking Senate Majority Leader, and he came out alone. He held a pen in his right hand always, because his right hand was crippled,
and that's why he would shake with his left.
Yeah, because he didn't want you to reach for his right, and he didn't want you to be embarrassed. So he held a pen there, and you'd see it. So
that's thoughtful.
So you'd ask for his left hand. Yes.
Isn't that the worst when you shake someone's hand? They have like
and they
one
go, sorry, in World War II.
So you go, well, now I feel gross.
Yeah. So he walks out of the elevator, and I'm standing there, and he just walks right up to me, and he goes, "Hey, I'm Bob Dole." And I go, "Yeah, you don't have to. There's a producer. I'll get a producer. You know,
I'll help you. I'll help you.
You don't stop at me." Like I'm telling him to just keep walking. Yeah. And he goes, "Well, what's your name?" My name's Louis. He goes, "What do you do?" And I go, "I'm a writer. I'm a comedy writer." He goes, "That's hard, boy. That's hard. That's a hard job. Trying to be funny. That's a damn hard job. How'd you come to that? And I go, stand-up comedy. Oh, that guy, that's even harder. Yeah, comedy. I got to really respect you. He just stood there and talked to me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Where are you coming from?" He goes, "Well, I just had to give a speech at this thing. And, luckily got to go early because I'm in the D's because my name's Dole, you know what I mean?" Just made a few cheap jokes. And he let the fucking conversation have an arc. And then he went like, "Will you tell me who I should speak to?" Like he did the whole, and I introduced him to the producer, and I was like, "I love Bob Dole. I love Bob Dole. He's my favorite guy in the world." All right. There's two weird things about him. One is that he caught a fucking fly ball at a game, which is really rare.
Yeah.
You're a president. At the time he was a former president. the odds of a former president catching it's insane.
Yeah.
There's something weird about Jimmy Carter because also I always heard this thing that he saw a UFO and that he'll tell you if you ask him, but he doesn't like talk about it, but he will tell you. And so there's this movie out now called Phenomenon, not the John Travolta thing. It's a documentary about UFOs, and I don't know how real it is.
Yeah,
it's all kinds of stories. It comes across really real. So did Close Encounters. I mean, I don't know. Cinema can create a lot of illusions, so I don't know, but it was compelling. But the most compelling thing, because it's you talk to a guy, he said what he said, right?
Yeah.
So in the extras, not in the movie, but if you watch the extras, I don't know why this isn't in the movie, but there's some kid in a wheelchair, like, blowing on a one of those guys like this, and you have to wait while he goes, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? One of those guys went to a book signing of Jimmy Carter, and you see Jimmy. This is footage. Jimmy's signing books, and then they bring over a wheelchair guy, and he says, "Can I ask you a question?" And he wasn't taking questions, but he's like, "Sure," because he's in a wheelchair, which means he's a saint. Only really great people are in wheelchairs. There's no assholes in wheelchairs. It doesn't exist. So he asks Jimmy Carter, "Is it true that you saw a UFO?" And Jimmy Carter goes, "Yes." And he asks him, "What was it like?" And he said, it's exactly how they're described.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a strange pill-shaped thing. It was floating, not making any sound. And then it just vanished. It just took off. And he said, when you became president, did you tell them, the State Department? And he said, yeah. And they said, just don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it, dude.
Yes.